Alexander Hamilton, one of America's foremost founding fathers, possessed a vision for the United States that transcended the fragile independence won from Britain. As a statesman, lawyer, and close confidant to George Washington, Hamilton was instrumental in shaping the American Republic. But his most enduring legacy lies in his commitment to a strong federal government, a commitment he defended fervently in the Federalist Papers, a series of 85 essays written alongside James Madison and John Jay. Published between 1787 and 1788 under the pseudonym Publius, these essays sought to persuade a skeptical public of the need for a new constitution that would remedy the weaknesses of the Articles of Confederation, under which the states had been little more than loosely allied, often contentious sovereignties. For Hamilton, the absence of a powerful, centralized government left the country vulnerable not only to foreign threats, but to internal fragmentation and decay. The Federalist Papers were more than theoretical treatises on government. They were urgent appeals for a structure that could sustain the new nation and protect the ideals of liberty and justice. Through his essays, Hamilton outlined a vision of a federal system with a careful balance of powers, reinforced by a robust executive, a reliable judiciary, and an empowered legislative body. His arguments were deeply grounded in an understanding of history, human nature, and the necessity of mutual reinforcement and balance among states and branches of government. Hamilton's insights reflect timeless principles about the power of interdependence, equilibrium, and resilience in governance. Each of these ideas finds expression in the triadic logic of interlocking relationships, where elements of governance work symbiotically to preserve stability and prevent tyranny. Through examining these foundational ideas alongside Hamilton's writings, we can appreciate the enduring wisdom in his vision of a balanced, interconnected republic, one where each part's strength and security hinge on the unity and integrity of the whole. In the logical model of coexistence among states, such as New York, Pennsylvania, and Virginia, the interdependent relationships illustrate how each state's well-being influences and is influenced by the others, creating a unified, balanced network. Federalist No. 13, written by Hamilton, emphasizes the economic and security advantages of such a union, arguing that these states, when interconnected, can thrive more effectively together than independently. He points out that nothing can be more evident than the benefits of unified governance, as the pooled resources of the states reduce redundant costs, eliminate conflicting regulations, and bolster collective security. In Hamilton's view, this framework of coexistence is not just efficient but essential for survival. It prevents the wastefulness and instability that would arise if each state operated in isolation. By advocating for a union based on interdependence, Hamilton demonstrates that collaboration leads to greater prosperity, showing that each state's success is tied to its relationship with others, a principle that remains relevant for any cooperative effort where collective outcomes surpass isolated efforts. The equilibrium model of logical balance reflects the checks and balances required among the legislative, executive, and judicial branches of government. In this framework, each branch's weakness or absence negatively affects the others, highlighting the critical need for balance to ensure overall functionality. Hamilton, alongside Madison in Federalist No. 51, explains that the ambition of each branch must counteract ambition in others, creating a self-regulating system that prevents any one branch from becoming too powerful. This model of equilibrium means that if the legislative branch becomes weakened or ineffective, it disrupts the balance of power and threatens the integrity of the executive and judicial branches as well. Hamilton's insight here underscores that the stability of democratic governance depends on a continuous balancing act among the branches, ensuring that no single authority dominates. His model emphasizes that robust, vigilant institutions are required to protect individual liberties, as it is through this balance that democratic principles are preserved, preventing tyranny and protecting citizen rights. In the reinforcement structure, the cycle of support among federal authority, national security, and public confidence illustrates how each element bolsters the next, creating a feedback loop that enhances governmental stability. In Federalist number 23, Hamilton discusses the vital powers of the federal government, arguing that comprehensive authority over defense is essential for ensuring security, which in turn fosters public confidence in the government. He stresses that the federal government must be equipped with unlimited power to meet the infinite challenges of national safety. By creating a secure environment, the government gains public trust, which further reinforces its legitimacy and authority. Hamilton's model shows that each layer of reinforcement, federal strength, security, and public confidence, contributes to an enduring, stable system, revealing the need for strong central governance to inspire trust and resilience. This principle reminds us that strength in one area of governance has compounding effects, providing a foundation that supports national stability and public loyalty. Hamilton's feedback model is a cautionary illustration of how the absence of state compliance, federal functionality, and national unity can form a cycle of deterioration. In Federalist number 16, he warns of the disastrous consequences if states resist federal authority, as such defiance would undercut federal operations, further weakening national unity and fostering additional resistance. Hamilton asserts that without the people's consent, a federal system cannot function effectively, and if states continue to reject federal mandates, the government's legitimacy and unity will suffer. His model captures how resistance and non-compliance undermine the authority and stability of the federal structure, causing a self-perpetuating loop of instability. Hamilton's insight here reflects the fragility of the Union if states prioritize autonomy over shared governance, underscoring the importance of cooperative adherence to federal authority as a necessary condition for national cohesion. His warning remains pertinent today, highlighting the need for mutual commitment to prevent fragmentation and maintain a functional, unified government. The causal model illustrates how a stable federal revenue stream leads to a strong government capable of ensuring national prosperity, showing that foundational economic policies directly influence broader outcomes. In Federalist number 30, Hamilton underscores the importance of a reliable federal revenue, describing it as the vital principle of the body politic that enables the government to operate and provide for the public good. Without stable revenue, the government cannot fulfill its duties, making national prosperity unattainable. Hamilton's causal chain demonstrates that sound financial policies are essential for effective governance and societal well-being, as financial strength directly supports the government's ability to serve and protect the public. This model emphasizes the necessity of securing foundational resources to realize broader economic and social goals, reinforcing Hamilton's view that fiscal stability is a prerequisite for a prosperous and resilient nation. The reversion structure highlights the risks of weak federal authority and the absence of constitutional unity, which could lead to regression into a fragmented system. In Federalist number 15, Hamilton paints a grim picture of the failures under the Articles of Confederation, describing it as national humiliation, resulting from insufficient federal power. Without a strong central authority, he argues, the Union risks collapsing into ineffective governance, lacking cohesion and strength. This model demonstrates how weakened federal authority and disunity undercut effective governance, causing the nation to revert to a disorganized state. However, unity under the Constitution can counteract this reversion by restoring federal authority and functionality. Hamilton's insight here warns against complacency in maintaining federal integrity, emphasizing that proactive measures are necessary to avoid the regressions that historically weakened the country. His perspective serves as a reminder of the continual efforts required to uphold a unified, effective government. In the non-linear model, Hamilton explores how a strong central government indirectly promotes individual freedoms and state prosperity by establishing a stable national framework. Federalist number 85 explains that the vigor of government is essential to safeguard liberty, as a strong federal structure secures national stability, which in turn supports the rights and prosperity of individuals and states. Hamilton's non-linear logic shows that achieving desirable outcomes, like individual and state welfare, often requires robust foundational policies that foster an environment of security and order. By highlighting the indirect benefits of federal strength, he argues that central authority is not an enemy of freedom, but rather its protector. This model underlines the importance of strong national frameworks that serve as a basis for broader social and economic success, illustrating how central government actions can have far-reaching positive effects on individual liberties and state well-being. The retrospective model, grounded in historical lessons, emphasizes how past failures inform present actions to strengthen governance. In Federalist number 20, Hamilton reflects on the pitfalls of failed confederacies and uses these examples to justify the need for a strong, proactive federal government. He describes experience as the oracle of truth, underscoring the value of learning from historical failures to avoid repeating them. Hamilton's retrospective approach advocates for a constitution that actively addresses weaknesses in previous governments, demonstrating that proactive steps can fortify the nation. His insight here champions the importance of historical awareness in policymaking, illustrating that a forward-looking government must be informed by the past. This principle remains a compelling argument for adaptive governance that evolves based on experience, reinforcing the necessity of resilience in institutional design. The inclusive structure involves mutually supportive relationships among the Senate, the executive branch, and the judiciary. In Federalist number 66, Hamilton discusses how the Senate's role in confirming appointments enhances accountability and inter-branch cooperation. By having the Senate check executive appointments, the executive branch functions with greater oversight, ensuring that the judiciary in turn operates independently and effectively. Hamilton's model shows that inclusive, interconnected powers reinforce the legitimacy and stability of the government as a whole, highlighting the benefits of shared authority. This approach illustrates how the branches of government can enhance each other's integrity through cooperative oversight, promoting a balanced, integrated system that supports a functional, accountable federal structure. The exclusive model, which examines the absence of federal power, state compliance, and national unity, underscores the potential for fragmentation when key elements are missing. In Federalist number 44, Hamilton warns that when states prioritize their sovereignty over federal authority, national cohesion is threatened, leading to a fragmented system that cannot maintain stability. He describes the dangers of mutable government, emphasizing that without federal power and state adherence to shared laws, unity cannot be achieved. Hamilton's insight here reinforces the necessity of centralized authority to maintain a cohesive and effective national structure, warning that excessive independence among states undermines the integrity of the Union. This model highlights the risks of fragmentation, serving as a reminder of the importance of centralized oversight in securing long-term unity and stability. The conjoined model illustrates the interdependence among legislative authority, judicial independence, and executive enforcement. In Federalist number 78, Hamilton emphasizes that the judiciary's complete independence is essential for upholding the Constitution, while legislative and executive actions support judicial authority and effectiveness. This conjoined structure shows how each branch of government contributes to the strength and legitimacy of the others, creating a resilient, interwoven system. Hamilton's approach here underscores the necessity of each branch functioning independently, but in harmony with the others, ensuring that each supports the rule of law. This perspective reveals the depth of Hamilton's belief in an interdependent government that upholds justice and stability through collaborative, balanced authority. In the bottlenecked model, the absence of federal coordination and healthy interstate relations creates economic instability, leading to systemic inefficiencies. Federalist number 22 discusses the limitations caused by a lack of federal authority over commerce, which hampers economic stability and effective interstate relations. Hamilton argues that without federal oversight in commerce, the states struggle with the want of a power to regulate and suffer from fragmented economic policies. This model highlights the importance of federal coordination in preventing bottlenecks that stall the entire system, illustrating the need for consistent policies that allow for smooth interstate interactions and economic growth. Hamilton's insight here advocates for a cohesive approach to federal management, recognizing that coordination across sectors is essential to avoid stagnation and decline. The harmonic model emphasizes the combined efforts of cooperation among states, federal support, and national unity. In Federalist number 18, Hamilton draws on historical examples to illustrate that when states cooperate with federal backing, national unity is maintained, creating a stable and harmonious system. By referencing the downfall of the Aetolian League due to dissensions, Hamilton highlights how unity fosters collective strength and stability. His model of harmony demonstrates that the interplay of state cooperation, federal reinforcement, and national unity creates a resilient, cohesive nation. This principle highlights the power of collaboration in achieving a prosperous, unified society, emphasizing the importance of alignment between state and federal levels to protect against external threats and internal discord. The dissonant model warns of the destructive potential of disunity, where the absence of national unity, economic stability, and political trust creates a cycle of distrust and instability. Federalist number 6 explores the sources of hostility and disunity among states, stressing that such conflicts have innumerable causes. Hamilton cautions that without unity, both economic stability and political trust erode, creating an environment of fragmentation. This model of dissonance serves as a reminder of the dangers of division and conflict, showing that without cohesion, a nation risks self-destruction. Hamilton's analysis reflects the need for mutual trust and unity as foundations of a stable, prosperous society, underscoring that a strong, unified system is crucial for long-term stability and peace. The Hamiltonian triads reveal structural principles that continue to offer profound insights into governance, balance, and resilience in the modern world. Hamilton understood that a stable government is not a monolithic authority, but rather a dynamic system where different parts support, check, and sustain one another in mutual dependence. In today's world, marked by complex global challenges and shifting power dynamics, Hamilton's vision of interconnectedness and balanced power is more relevant than ever. These triads remind us that cooperation and equilibrium, whether among states, branches of government, or nations, are essential to prevent the system's fragmentation and ensure its capacity to adapt to challenges. Hamilton's lessons on coexistence and equilibrium underscore the value of interdependence in any network, from federal systems to international alliances. In an era of globalization, nations must balance autonomy with cooperation, recognizing that mutual support, whether in security, trade, or environmental initiatives, is the only path to addressing shared challenges. His insights on reinforcement and feedback show that actions taken in one sector resonate throughout the system, whether that system is a government, a corporation, or a global alliance. Maintaining resilience, therefore, depends on reinforcing critical areas, such as cybersecurity, economic stability, and public health, that bolster the broader structure of society. The triadic models of causality, reversion, and nonlinear dynamics also speak to the need for foresight in leadership today. Just as Hamilton advocated for strong financial foundations to secure prosperity, modern governments must prioritize sound economic policies that strengthen national infrastructure and resilience. At the same time, the dangers of reversion caution against complacency. Progress requires continual attention to the foundational principles that unify and sustain society. Likewise, Hamilton's emphasis on the inclusive and harmonic nature of governance suggests that systems, organizations, and nations must foster trust and collaboration among their components. This principle is crucial in our diverse, interconnected societies, where harmonious interaction can generate collective strength far greater than isolated actions. Finally, the lessons of exclusivity, bottlenecks, and dissonance remind us of the risks inherent in fragmentation and discord. In times of political polarization, Hamilton's vision highlights the dangers of excluding key voices or creating bottlenecks that prevent effective governance. These triads serve as a reminder that unity does not mean uniformity. Rather, it reflects a commitment to shared goals and the common good. Hamilton's principles thus serve as a guide to building structures, whether governmental, organizational, or global, that are adaptable, balanced, and united in purpose. In essence, Hamilton's vision offers a blueprint for building resilient systems capable of withstanding the pressures of a changing world. By applying these insights, modern leaders and citizens alike can work to create structures that are not only strong and stable, but also flexible, inclusive, and responsive to the needs of all. In a world of accelerating change, Hamilton's triadic logic endures, showing us that true strength lies in balance, unity, and the power of interconnectedness.